Most celebrities collect luxury watches, sports cars, or at the very least, exotic pets with their own Instagram accounts. But Jason Schwartzman? He collects time. Not timepieces, no Rolexes or Patek Philippe's. I mean literal, dusty, analog, rewind it before you watch it time. Jason Schwartzman lives inside a perfectly curated time capsule. Walk into his home and it's like stepping into a 1960s Wes Anderson film. Which makes sense, considering he stars in half of them. The man has a rotary phone that actually works. He owns a microwave that probably takes 10 minutes to heat soup. And he loves it. There are shelves of VHS tapes, including obscure titles like How to Juggle with Bananas and Workout Jazzercise Volume 2. He even owns unopened cereal boxes from the 80s. Yes, he's the guy who collects expired cereal for aesthetic. But to Jason, these aren't just artifacts. They're stories. He believes everything from a cassette tape to a floppy disk has a spirit, something real, something human. He once said, "When you hold something old, you're holding someone else's time." Once during a dinner party, a guest spotted a tiny TV in his kitchen, one of those black and white models from the 70s. They laughed. Jason didn't. He turned it on. It took 45 seconds to warm up. Snowy screen, buzzing sound, and then, boom, an old commercial from 1984 he had manually recorded played. It was for Tang. Jason just smiled and whispered, "Now that's television." And let's talk music. Forget streaming. Jason owns over 2,000 vinyl records. Genres. Everything from French pop to horror movie soundtracks to a surprising number of polka albums. He doesn't use Spotify. He doesn't believe in Spotify. When asked why, he simply replied, "Spotify doesn't smell like a record store." He even has a working answering machine. Not voicemail, an answering machine, and he uses it. His outgoing message? A dramatic reading of a line from Citizen Kane, followed by a beep. Jason doesn't collect to show off. He collects to slow down, to resist the swipe fast, scroll harder world we're trapped in. His home is a protest, a quiet rebellion, against algorithms, against the dopamine drip of modern life, against push notifications. When he listens to a tape, it warps a little. When he rewinds a VHS, it whirs. And when he watches an old cartoon, it glitches. But to Jason, those imperfections, they're perfect. Coming up next, the strangest item in Jason's collection, the rituals he performs before using any vintage gadget. In Jason Schwartzman's world, nothing is too small to matter. A napkin from a 1950s diner, a broken toy robot from the Cold War era, even a half-used notebook from a stranger he never met. He once found it at a flea market and called it someone's forgotten autobiography. And let's talk about the weirdest thing he owns. Ready for it? A perfectly preserved TV guide from 1978. Why? Because he likes to flip through and imagine what people were watching on Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. 45 years ago. He doesn't just own these things, he performs rituals with them. Before playing a cassette, he cleans the tape head with a cotton swab. Before reading an old comic book, he wears gloves. Before typing on his vintage typewriter, he plays jazz music, lights the candle, and whispers, "Let's do this, Hemingway." You see, to Jason, analog life is sacred. He says, using old technology forces you to be present. There's no Control-Z on a typewriter, no undo when you record a mixtape. You mess up, you start over, just like real life. In fact, his recording studio in LA is 100% analog, no laptops, no digital plugins, just reel-to-reel tape, dusty mics, and a clock that ticks louder than it should. When you walk in, there's a sign that says, "If it doesn't hiss, it doesn't exist." One time, a producer tried to sneak in a USB stick. Jason looked at it like it was a cockroach. "Please remove the plastic intruder," he said, and the studio went back to humming like it was 1972. Also, he doesn't own a smart speaker, no Alexa, no Google Home. He once said, "I don't need a robot listening to me, talk to my cat." Fair point. But underneath all the quirk and vintage charm is a deep belief. Jason Schwartzman thinks the past isn't dead, it's just waiting for someone to care again. He believes time isn't linear. It's layered, and everything we toss away too quickly, our gadgets, our memories, even our habits, are echoes, whispers from another version of us. So the next time you see an old tape or flip past a dusty radio at a thrift shop, think of Jason, the man who turned his life into a time capsule, who collects not for profit or clout, but for meaning. Maybe he's a little odd. Maybe he's just ahead of his time, by living in the past. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and rewind. See you in the next story.